Hello, welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Alyssa and today I have a Deck of Panning update. Deck of Panning is a project started by Emily of Emily and Max here on YouTube. She was inspired by another YouTuber named Books with Maddie who did something similar with books, but we're doing it with makeup panning. So there's a deck of cards you pull cards from. Each card is assigned a prompt. Based on the prompts, you try to pick things that will work and just have fun. So if you want to know how I did with all of my products from last month, then please keep watching. The first item we're going to talk about was pulled in for oldest. And this is definitely one of the oldest products in my collection. It is a loose pigment called the Crab. For products like this, where it's sort of I can't necessarily use it every day, and it's sort of this like single little item. I figure using it twice a week for an average in the month is good, so 8 uses. And I did do that. It was kind of, I don't know, it's one of those where I have eyeshadows that do a similar effect, and it's a lot easier just to pull out an eyeshadow than to have to worry about, wetting my brush or putting down some sort of special primer for it just to make sure it stays on. But anyway, it started at 15 and 1100 grams, and after the 8 uses, it is now just 15 grams. So I used 1100ths of a gram. I feel like I'm still about halfway through this. I'm not really worried about this going bad like I am with, other eyeshadow types of products, just because it's just a loose pigment. And I try to keep it as sanitary as I can by not like dipping into the little container, but kind of dumping it out. So, but I'm not perfect. If it expires at some point in the near future, I wouldn't be super sad because I feel like I have gotten so many uses out of it. So, there we go. The next item that I'm going to talk about was for Spotlight a Panner. I chose to spotlight the panner Sam or Samar, who is first time panner here on YouTube. And I chose this Marvelous Mauves palette because Dose of Colors is her favorite brand. So this is my only product from them, but when I use it, I think of two things. One, I think about her because of how much she loves Dose of Colors. I also will think about when I got this, it was an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale thing. It was half off, and it came while I was at my in-laws' house in Maryland, and like I had it shipped there because I knew I wouldn't be home. So, I was like so excited for this, and this was another one of those things where I'm not sure if my second child was born or not yet. It might have been for that trip, or hope it wasn't after my first, because then that means that this is really old. But anyway, my goal is to finish the second shadow here. You can tell easily that I haven't. I'll do a little zoomed in, picture and all that, but it's fine. I knew that this would be sort of a long haul item. I mean, I guess I could have just really been trying to go in hard on this purple every day, loading it up, but I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I am totally fine thinking about Sam for multiple months, and that is fine. And then this palette will probably get retired for me by the end of this year. So, I'm also just trying to get some other uses in while this one is in here. It still works fairly well, but I feel like it is kind of getting more dusty, let's say, than it was. So, at some point, I'm going to move on. All right. So like I said, that one is still going to stay in the project. I'm still going to be rolling in 5 cards no matter what. So it just means that right now I'm going to have at least 6 products that are in for the next month, and I'm fine with that. Next one was for Wish I Returned, and it was to use this highlighter brick 20 times. So I'm not really the type that's about returning my stuff and all, although I almost feel like I could have picked something else. Oh, now I know. Never mind. But yeah, I just kind of wish that back when highlighter was all the rage, when I was, buying different ones, that I hadn't bought all those different ones, that I just, even though they were fairly cheap, it was maybe like $5 or so at a time. You're like, oh, and look at this one. Oh, I heard people talking about this one. maybe, you know, just start with one. I mean, but I thought I really liked it, but I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I wish that I didn't have all the highlighters that I do have because I don't enjoy using them. I might use them for like an inner corner thing, but I can use eyeshadows for that, so it's not super necessary. And maybe if I had one highlighter, I feel like that would be enough. So I am trying to get them out. This product though, it just really, it doesn't work the best. I've tried using it all sorts of ways. I mean, you can tell though, like, so I wanted to use it 20 times. I ended up using it 16 times and then I let myself stop. Okay, so that should be telling you something. I'll show, I guess, maybe a better picture, but I will say I did connect the pans that were in the pinkier shade and the whiter shade. I mean, it looks fine, like it's, you know, but it doesn't feel like it did. I feel like it's dried out. The darker shade I tried using as bronzer, you know, like kind of around that area, and it's just not the right color brown for me. I don't know. I don't like it, and I haven't liked it, and I've used it a lot. So I'm not going to make myself finish the 20 uses. I am going to go ahead and just throw this out and say, you know, goodbye, nice knowing you, kind of. Not really that nice, but all right. So that one's done. Along those same lines, I had chopping block, and again, I'm not normally oh, I wish, you know, I have regrets about my makeup, you know, or something. I usually am pretty good or feel good about what I've been buying. But this eyeliner, this is on the chopping block, or it was on the chopping block, because after the first or second use, I already had the little hairs splaying out from it, and that's so annoying. Also, this is supposed to be dark chocolate, and I already said that this is definitely not a dark chocolate. I mean, if I gave a swatch, this to me does not look like a dark chocolate. I don't know, like, I guess if I like really go in a bunch, but it just doesn't give enough oomph. If I want this kind of color, then I'd rather just use an eyeshadow, and I feel like I would get, you know, almost a better effect. Like today I have on a purple eyeshadow. It's not even that dark of a purple, but it has more impact than when I use this. So if I'd rather use an eyeshadow than use this, or then I would just pull in a black with liquid or I would just pull in a black liquid liner. I even still have a little pot liner that's brown that's a little bit fussy to use, but better than this. I'm throwing this out. So you might kind of see this as not the most successful of Decopaning months because I have, you know, 2 items that are getting thrown out, but I know I kind of see that as helpful. You know, it's 2 fewer things that I don't need to have. And, you know, something though that was good to have is this Fairy Tale Fairies palette. So this was brought in for focus. And one of my focus types of things is when I bring in new makeup, that if it's eyeshadow, I want to make sure that I use all the eyeshadows, you know, in the palette 5 times each. So I wanted to go ahead and finish that goal off for this palette because I still had some uses left, and I did that. So everything in here is looking, you know, pretty well used. The embossings are messed up, you know, and all the matte eyeshadows. They're not perfect looking and all, which I think is great. And yeah, I still really enjoy this palette. The shimmers, you know, it's a little tricky getting them to work, although I have a thought for something I want to try with them, but I haven't done that yet. So anyway, this is done. So this was a success. And so now I'm going to be drawing new cards and seeing what those prompts are and picking the items. Okay, I am here and I have an actual deck of cards with a joker. I took out the other one and yep, they're already scrambled, so I'm just gonna make sure the joker is in there somewhere. So it is time to pick 5 new prompts and see what I get. So maybe I will have 6 prompts, maybe I'll have more depending on what we have. And hopefully I put the board up on the screen so you can follow along with me. All right, first card, 4 of Spades. It is pretty packaging. Okay. Eight of Clubs, Tourist. What is that? Tourist is a foreign brand or something inspired by a country I've visited or wish to. Okay. Two of Spades, seasonal. Really? Twice in 1 year? I haven't gotten it at all, and now I've gotten it twice. All right, I don't even have a clue about what I was going to do for Joker this time, so let me think about it. And Seven of Spades, splurge. So I assume that was an item that I splurged on. All right, have I splurged on anything? Yes. Yes, I think I know. I have two ideas. All right, let me go pick the products. I have picked what I'm going to do, and it wasn't super hard. I thought it would take me longer, but we've got it figured out. So first off, I knew that as soon as I saw pretty packaging, I was thinking about my Stone Vibes palette, and also thinking about the fact that I was using the one shade for the Time to Pan project. It's this peachy shade over here. And I got very close to hitting pan, I feel like, but I haven't. So I decided to set that as a goal because this palette is not getting any younger, and just having it around might make me even use some of the other shades too. So my goal right now is to hit pan on that. So then I'll have pan in two mattes. Who knows, maybe I can also hit pan on Third Eye while I'm at it, because that one's also kind of deep. So that would be fun to hit two if I could, but the goal right now is for Antidote. Then, basically you're gonna see there's a lot of hitting pans because next for Tourist, I decided for a Canadian brand called Clionadh to hit pan on this shade Glimmer, which is a purpley kind of iridescent shade. So I will have we'll be rolling off for some of this stuff. But yeah, so I have a pretty good dip again going, but no pan yet, and that would be great to have. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with this palette, even though it's later. It was Splurge. So Splurge, I felt like when I got the shadows recently from Shine by SD Cosmetics, that those were kind of a splurge because they're not the cheapest. And it was just kind of, for fun. I mean, obviously it's all fun, but yeah, I hadn't been sort of seeking them out recently or something. It wasn't, I don't know, the Sydney Gray shadows, when I got those last year, I was thinking about that kind of as a splurge, and it was, but it was also kind of a practical purchase of replacing some shadows that were expiring on me. These were just, oh, those are pretty. So I decided for Ice Blink. This was in particular a splurge because it's one of the more expensive shades from them that I ordered anyway. I want to use it 10 times, and that shouldn't actually be too hard. I was going to make it less, but I'm like, you know what? This is the type of shade I can wear in lots of ways, and it's fun to be able to see what are the different ways, like how does it look with different colors and different uses. So that is my goal for Splurge. Then for seasonal, this Urban Decay blush, it's a pinky blush, which I feel like is very seasonally appropriate. I would like to use it 15 times. Right now it is 48 1/100 grams, so we'll see what it is after 15 uses. I'm not sure if I will get it all done this month or not, because I have another blush that I've been working on, and this one is maybe a little trickier to use, but maybe that's also a good kind of sign to know if it is a little too tricky that I don't want to use it regularly. Then is it time to say goodbye to this one, because it is quite old in my collection. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It might be close to the age of my oldest or something, which is quite old. And then the last one, Joker. The last time I got Joker, I wanted to hit pan in one of my Sickly Sweet eyeshadow palette matte shadows, because to me, I'd already hit pan in some of the shimmers, And those were they're so easy to hit pan on because of the formula. And I felt like if I hit pan in one of the mattes, it would help make the palette seem less precious and more like, you know, used, and it's okay to use it to the point of hitting pan, okay? So there's another palette from Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse, which I kind of have a similar feeling about, that like right now it feels a little precious to have, you know, these matte shadows that are all, you know, no pan showing. So I would like to hit pan in one of the matte eyeshadows. I figured this is a goal that probably won't be met this month, but that's kind of good for a Joker. You know, it should be something that is a challenge. And I'm kind of thinking about this baby doll shade because it has a lot of uses. Again, from the Time to Pan project, I used it in there. And it is something that's kind of easy for me to use. But I do know that I also have like this kind of beige shade and this peachy shade, which might also be easy to use. They don't have any dents on them right now, so, you know, who knows? But yeah, and I feel like by having it in, then, you know, I might also be using other shades in here and kind of, you know, getting more use. Because this palette I now have had for a year. So, you know, I mean, yes, it has 4 pans on it, but those are all in the shimmers. And I already said how, you know, the shimmer formula is a lot easier to hit pan. So let's try it. If you want updates on how this project is going, then maybe you'll subscribe to my channel. The updates are always, I try anyway, on the 20th of the month, because that's what we're supposed to do. Thank you so much for watching this one. Until my next video, I hope you'll be doing well, and I'll see you then. Bye!